Hey, what's the dealio, people? How you guys doing? It is Sascha Chatman here with Chatman Realty Group, and welcome to our show. Let's chat real estate. So we're going to be going live like once a week. We're going to do this every Tuesday, pretty much the exact same time at 6 p.m. And we're just coming live so we can talk to all the consumers out there about what's going on in this real estate market in DFW. It's real out here, man, and that's what we're going to do. We want to make sure you guys bring all your questions and your comments and everything you have, and we're going to change the topic every week according to what you need. Now, in today's show, we're going to be bringing my guy, Palmer Holland, one of my go-to lenders. He's awesome, all right? So he is the truth. He and I do a lot of deals together, okay? And the market has changed. So we're going to talk to Palmer about that, just have an open conversation about it. And we want to hear what you guys have, your questions, your concerns. And today we're really talking about down payment assistance and what has happened out here with DPA, because it ain't the same. So let's go ahead and bring Palmer in real quick. Hey, Palmer, how you doing, man?
Hello. Hey, what's up, buddy? Chilling.
Ah, man, I'm good. So, well, just do quick introductions. Palmer, where are you from again? Can you tell these folks what company you're with? Which I do know that, but...
So I'm with Cardinal Financial. We're a top 10 independent banker. I'm located here right in the Metroplex. We're a big part of you. I work with you. I work with Century 21 Fight, which is a big brokerage. But yeah, Cardinal Financial. We're excited where things are heading. Realistically.
Yeah. Palmer's real humble, guys. I'm going to tell you like this. This dude's the truth, right? Palmer and I have been working together for a good part, 4 years now, give or take. We met at the barbershop. We get our hair cut together. Well, not together, but at the same location, right? And Palmer hit me up, and that's how we kind of met. And then we just started doing business together. And we've had so many deals throughout the years and helping a lot of people. But it's different out here, and 2022 is different, man. How's it feeling from your side of the fence?
I mean, we're starting to see margin compression. So what that means is that we see interest rates increase. There's a lot of volatility in the market. Some of the things that we'll go into today. But I think the sentiment is, from where I stand, I need it. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, tell the truth, man. You need it.
Look. I mean, we've got let's see, South Lake in our area, 44% increase year over year. From last year to this year, the median price of homes in South Lake increased over 50%.
Yep. It's almost that across the board, man.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, right? Interest rates are a double-edged sword. You don't want them to go higher, but we kind of need them to. I think we need to curtail the market a little bit.
Okay. Hey, Palmer, people are saying you got a major echo going on right now. Let's see if you can kind of get that worked out for a quick second. I'm seeing some of the comments saying you got a major echo.
Yeah, I think it's on your end.
On my end? Am I echoing, guys?
No, it's coming through your speakers.
Oh, that's why I got the headphones on. Here, let me try taking the headphones off, see if that makes it better. How's that? Huh?
Hello?
Yeah, is that better? Nick, is that better? Are you guys hearing me better this way? Or no echo or what? Someone tell me something. It's what happens when you do things live, my friend. All right, I'm assuming we don't have an echo. If we do, I'll put the headphones back on. We'll get this whole thing figured out, okay? All right, so here's the deal, man. Here's the deal. It's real up out here right now. The way the real estate market is working, from my perspective, guys, as a real estate agent, there are people right now who are getting priced out this market. There's people who say, I'm going to wait for it to crash. It's going to change. And it has not changed. It's not going... It is not going to crash anytime soon, guys. It is not going to turn around and prices are going to dramatically start dropping. That is not the real estate market we're in. We have been on a price increase in home value increase for the past 7-8 years now, probably longer than that. But the point is, it is a different beast out here. So we need to talk about it. We want to make sure we bring you guys the education you need to understand what's really going on out there. All right. So All right, Palmer, go ahead and speak up real quick. Let's make sure this cleared up on this echo before we jump on and get started here.
Yeah. I might have to try to take my earbuds out.
Okay, try that.
I still hear the echo myself.
Yeah.
How about that?
You sound better.
I still hear
an echo there.
Okay. Well, if anybody hears an echo, let us know. How about that? So let's keep going. All right. So real quick, I want Palmer to kind of walk us through what we have going on in the market as we speak.
Hold on. I believe there's some settings here.
This is what happens, guys, when you try to do something like this live, and then all of a sudden all your echoes messed up. It was working perfectly fine this morning. I promise you. If you're watching the stream, real quick, guys, if you're watching the stream, could you go over to our YouTube channel, Realty Group, and make sure you like and subscribe there, because we have a lot of great content out there that we are constantly bringing to you. So whether we're taking you through new construction walkthroughs, or we are actually taking you out there and we're showing you what is the latest and the greatest that's going on in the real estate world. We're bringing education to you guys all day, every day. So, all right, let's keep going. All right, that is in the chat. I'm going to ask my admins if y'all can share those on our other channels as well. And then we're going to go ahead and bring Palmer back and see if his audio is getting back a little bit better. All right. So, real quick, what are you guys hearing is going on out there in the real estate market? While Palmer's fixing his mic, what are you guys hearing out there right now? What is the things that people are saying to you guys the most? I'm looking at this right here. There are no houses. Yeah, I see that all the time, guys. There are not enough houses, and that is very true. The market has changed a little bit here, and we don't have as many houses on the market. I mean, we used to, when I first started in real estate here in DFW, we were always operating off about 30 to about 40 days of inventory on market. Right now, we operate off of like 3. I laugh at that, but realistically, if it's a nice home, it is going to be gone inside of 3 days. That's it. So you as a buyer have to be very decisive about what it is that you want to do. You have to be very decisive in what you're going to, the decisions you're making, right? And if that's the right home. And that is what's so uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable because you're making a very quick decision which is going to impact your entire family, right? And you have to make it so fast, and sometimes you feel like you don't have the knowledge, right? And that's not, we don't want that for anybody. And I'll tell you guys, we bought another home here in August with Palmer, by the way, right? He was my lender, and it did not feel good being on the other side of the table, waiving my appraisal, doing all these things that I had to do that I tell everybody else that you have to do. And I was a nervous wreck. And I sell houses all day, every day. So believe me, this is not just a real estate agent and lender telling you guys do X, Y, and Z. We have been through this ourselves. We're people too. We live in houses, right? We go through these transactions just as well, and it is an emotional roller coaster. So allow us to help you and arm you guys with the relevant information that you need to get going. All right, we're going to bring Palmer back. I think we might have the audio fixed at this point here. All right, Mr. P.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Nope.
I think.
No?
It didn't work.
Say that again.
I'm hearing an echo on my end.
All right. Well, let's keep going. I mean, if someone complains about it, we'll fix that on the next stream or whatever. But let's keep going in the interest of time. I can't hear an echo. So I don't know if anybody else can hear an echo. I can't hear the echo.
Power through it.
Yeah, let's power through it, man. That's what we have to do.
All right.
So, real quick, Palmer, if you can walk us through these slides, man, let's get you going here.
Yeah. And
I'm just going to change. Everyone said they can hear us fine, man. I think it's just on your end, but everyone can hear us fine. So, let's get going.
Oh, yeah, Lorenzo said. So, kind of doing a brief overview of what interest rates are, I think is the easiest or the quickest way to kind of jump into where we're at with market volatility so that we can kind of understand what we're even looking at here. So what changes or what causes mortgage rates to change, right? So really what it boils down to is influx of money in the market, right? So like the basic principle of what getting a mortgage or getting a loan for a car or getting like a personal loan or something like that from the bank has to have the money, right? So there's no money, they can't lend any money. So what mortgage rates really kind of leverage on is these things called mortgage-backed securities. They're kind of similar to like bond yields, if you're familiar with the 10-year bond yield. And so investors will flood the market into mortgage-backed securities and bond yields. And then with that money, banks and lenders can then in turn lend that money out to other individuals. So, why do mortgage rates move? The market, right? The supply, right? It's a supply and demand thing. If there's a lot of supply, then we can look at lower interest rates. We can look at more movement with the market. The market moves quicker if we see less supply, less money being influxed, not influxed, that's the wrong word, but injected is the better word, injected into the market. Then we might see interest rates rise. And there's another point to this too, if you want to click to the next portion there.
So, I mean, I'm glad you bring that up, because where we are right now, interest rates have been going up. I mean, we don't have supply. So right now we are seeing rates going up. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah, so we're starting to see interest rates go up. So this is an example. This is the 4.0. This is a 30-year mortgage-backed security. So anyone can invest in these. You don't have to be like some special institution or anything like that. But as you can see, this is the last 6 months. So November 2021, you can see that it's kind of like trending down, which is like, okay, so if it's trending down, why are rates increasing? And
right.
So
I think people are so confused by that. People see these graphs and they start interpreting them all kind of ways. Please clear it up for everybody, man. Help us out.
Yeah. So it's pretty simple, man. So if you can lend out $1,000 at 5%, right, you're going to get on an annual basis $50, right? That's basically what it boils down to. So you buy $1,000 worth of mortgage-backed securities at 5% coupon, and then you hold on to it for a year. These are considered short-term, but also long-term. You're not going to day trade these things. Like, you're not going to make any money day trading these things. So next year, the coupon for that same amount goes up to 6%. Well, now you're sitting there, you're holding a bond. If you're familiar with what bonds or CDs are, right, you're going to hold on to that. So you've got a 5% coupon or bond or mortgage-backed security that you invested $1,000 in, and then now people are buying that for 6%. They're buying that. They're getting $1,000 into 6%, and they're going to have a higher return. So now yours is deflating. So when we see mortgage-backed securities come down, that means that there's less interest in the market. So in turn, what you see is this inverse reaction. Interest rates go up, so that it drives back individuals or investors, so to speak, back into investing in the market, and ideally lower interest rates and keep the kind of cycle moving in a way. And I've got another slide for.
Let me pull it up for you.
Okay, so this is exactly what it is. So bond prices, interest rates. Typically, you have bond prices come down, which is the mortgage-backed security. You have interest rates go up to combat that. There's an inverse relation with it. Right? Most bonds pay a fixed interest that becomes more attractive as interest rates fall. So it's an enticing thing. We saw a lot of volatility in the market when cryptocurrency became a huge thing.
Huge thing.
It's still going on. Cryptocurrency is still a thing. But right when you saw, what did you see? It like jumped up to like $30,000.
Right.
Like a couple of years
ago. I know I saw some great performance in my stocks, all over the place, and then I saw some things drop down at the exact same time later.
So you had people pulling their money out of that bond market and investing in other riskier endeavors, cryptocurrency, for example, and then rates are going to kind of adjust and fluctuate to kind of, it's like it's like two ice cream shops competing for each other.
I like ice cream.
Like 3 flavors. They've got strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate. And the other one has 15 flavors, right? So they're going to see all of their customers go over to the 15 flavor place, and then they're going to have to basically create enticement, create lower bond prices or higher bond prices to entice those individuals back to it. So just it's kind of a weird.
So that's like when you get this weird like strawberry peach ice cream and stuff. That's what you're talking about. That's how we get that. I like that example. I do like that example because
ice cream's good. Everybody loves ice cream.
Yeah, who doesn't like
Nobody
ice cream?
likes high interest rates though.
So let me pause the slides here for 1 second. So guys, at the end of the day, right, the markets are volatile. The markets are moving, right? And when this happens, the real estate market is going to respond. And one of the biggest things we have is a supply and demand issue. I don't think people really quite understand just how big COVID was on the supply and demand for this country, because we stopped making stuff. We stopped building houses. Builders wasn't building. They didn't have enough workers out there working. We wasn't making windows, guys. We wasn't making bricks. Didn't have shingles. I can tell you I have clients right now who have been under contract in building a brand new home for well over a year. Why? Because the supply chain got disrupted. And so people started asking questions, when is this going to turn around? It's going to take us some time to get out of it. I'm seeing reports as much as what? Say that again?
12 to 18 months.
12 to 18 months, guys. It is April 2022. So people are saying end of 2023. I've heard some people say 24. So please understand, you have to be patient. It is a hard thing to do. And you have to be wise. And that's why we're educating you guys on this, because as these things are happening, we still have a short supply, extremely high demand here in DFW. The amount of people moving here every day is astronomical. It's huge. I think it's like 1,500 the last time I looked at that number. Over 1,500 people move here every single day. And they move here for
like
these jobs.
13,000 jobs are opening up over the next 12 months. Yeah.
I know every time I get on the highway, I see another Amazon warehouse somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Every place. So if there's jobs, people are coming here. Let me say this differently. If there are jobs, home values will continue to rise. And you, if you're out there thinking about buying a home, guess what? The clock is not on your side. It is telling you that, because home values are going to keep going up. We're seeing home values going up. At one point it was 6%, then it was 10%, then it was 15%. Now we're seeing like 15% almost every quarter. Yeah. How much is your raise going up every single year? 3%? 4%? That's a pretty decent raise here in our country, getting a 3 to 4% raise, right? How do you keep up with the rising values of homes? So that's one thing I want to drive that home, guys. This is why we're going over these things, because the more you know about this, the more equipped you are that you can come back and make a very wise decision. Right. How's this bond yield stuff going to impact the consumer out there, Palmer?
Well, so this I threw this graph in there to kind of illustrate the inverse relationship that bonds have with mortgage-backed securities.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The biggest benchmark that I can tell somebody, if they go, hey, what are rates doing? I just tell them to Google the 10-year bond yield, right? It's not going to be the exact, to the penny. As we can see, it's at 2.6%. This was 2.6%. This was at 2 o'clock Eastern today. Interest rates are mid 4s, high 4s, sometimes 5%, close to 6%, depending on what the scenario is. But you can get a good guesstimate of where interest rates are heading. You see this thing going up, interest rates are going up. You see this thing going down, interest rates are going down. But you can see the reason why I wanted to include this is that we saw on the previous graph that mortgage-backed security is going in the opposite direction. So you have this inverse relationship with it.
Right.
So that's what that is. I mean, basically what this, again, illustrates is that it's trying to entice the same type of investors back into this market to make more money, and to put more money in the market. And if we're looking at interest rates from a historical standpoint, this is all the way up to 2019. We're still kind of in that same, where 2019 has ended, we're still in that benchmark, just right above 4%, around, in between 4 and 6%. We might be a little bit higher than 2019, but historically, we're killing it. like people were getting 15-16% interest rates in the 80s, you know.
Well, and I hear this all the time, Palmer. People are always so quick to say to me, wait a minute. Let me get this right. You're telling me that interest rates are going to keep going up. I'm like, yeah, they're going to go up. Well, I'm not going to buy a house at 5%. Okay? Now I hear people say, well, I'm not going to buy a house at 6%. I guarantee you that you will. And let me tell you why. Because as your home values in your market center goes up, guess what else goes up with it? The rent. Okay? Do you want to be in an apartment, guys? Let's be very clear. Do you want to be in an apartment paying what in Fort Worth right now, average rent is like $1,900. Do you want to pay $1,900 to $2,000 for a 3-bedroom apartment right now? And it's going up even more so because people are having to bid on rentals. When it comes down to getting a rental home right now, they are doing highest and best on rentals. I've never seen that before, but we have that all day, every day, in which people are legitimately putting out a rental for $1,900, and then people are paying in 6 months rent. Okay, they say I'll pay you $2,000 and I'll pay you 6 months in advance. Okay, think about that: $2,000 is 6 months in advance. What landlord wouldn't take that? And the person who's doing that is basically buying a house. That's the type of money you would be spending by buying a home. But that's what's going on. So when you look at these interest rates and you say, you know what, I'm not going to do that. There's no way I'm going to buy a house at 6-7%. Yeah, but the reality is, if you don't act now, you might not be able to. That is a reality.
Yeah, that's the big thing. And I have to stress to individuals. Nobody wants a 6% interest rate when they saw 3, 2, or even 4% a couple months ago. We were very close to the 2% 8 months ago.
Right. All right, let's keep going here real quick. Let's change gears and talk about how we can help these folks out. And the real topic is down payment assistance dead? We have a couple programs out there in down payment assistance. There's quite a bit of them. Let's be very clear. There's a large number of them, but here are the ones that are the most common. So, Palmer, walk us through this real quick. What are these programs and how do they work?
So there's 3 common statewide programs. The most common, in my personal opinion, TSAC, the Texas State Affordable Housing Corporation, set up by Texas legislature back in, I think, like 1993. And most individuals know about this particular community program if they're in the job sector of like nurses, teachers, firefighters, police officers. They've got a great program called Homes for Heroes, but then they also have Home Sweet Texas, which helps everybody out. And then you have the Southeast Texas Housing Finance Corporation. That is another big one. And then TDHCA, which is the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs. All of these are easily accessible. The loan officer, so somebody like myself, and the lending company get certified with the community programs to help people out. And they give it to you in the form of percentages. So where they're at right now, because the fact of asking for down payment assistance,
mm-hmm.
it's not always free money.
Right.
But
money's never free.
Cost to it, right? So, usually what you see is you see a little bit higher interest rates with these particular programs. Where we might see 4.99 with somebody
mm-hmm.
with like a 680 credit score on an FHA loan, you might be looking at 5.625 or something like that as you start to look at the different assistance amounts through these programs.
Well, let me ask you this. Is it true that it doesn't, as long as you meet the bare minimum requirement of the credit score with these programs, it doesn't matter if you're rocking, let's say, a 680 or a 820, you're taking the rate of the program?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the requirements, TSAC and TDHCA,
mm-hmm.
620, SEP is 640. And then each county has an income limit. You've got to be underneath the income limit. But if you have a 620 or an 800, you're going to get the same interest rates.
Right.
You're going to get the same amount of assistance.
And that's the way I explain it to people. I say, hey, let's check this out. This is how it works. On your own merit, on your own income, and your own credit, and without taking any down payment money, you might get, let's say, I'm going to just throw out a number, you might get an interest rate of 4.3% right now in this market. Okay, let's say you might get that, right? Palmer shook his head like, maybe I went too low right now in this market. But if you're going to take, this is just an example, people. He'll give you the actual numbers. I sell the houses, I take you out, I make sure with my team that you're happy and what you're buying, and we negotiate. He does the finances, all right? So let's say you're going to get, let's bump it up to like a 4.5%, right? And then, but if you're going to take the 3% money, hey, yeah, you get 3% of the money down of the sales price. So with that saying, let's say you buy a $300,000 home. You're going to get back $9,000, right, to use towards closing or down payment, right? But that comes at a higher interest rate. That might come with about what right now, Palmer, on one of these programs, give or take?
Oh, you're in the fives. Yeah,
in the fives.
Absolutely in the fives, yeah.
Right.
I think it was 5.875 was
5.875.
Yeah.
Right. Now let's say you want to do 4%. That interest rate number goes higher, right? And if you want to do 5% money down, that rate even goes higher. So it gets to a point while you need the money, it's like, is a juice worth a squeeze? But let's talk about it. It most certainly is. Palmer, walk us through this example.
So, this is the sales price, $250,000. FHA financing, the minimum down payment is 3.5% of the sales price. So we've got one example without assistance and one example with assistance. So you can see, down payment, $8,700, closing costs. If you're not familiar with what closing costs are, title fees, taxes, recording, insurance, stuff like that, $6,200. So you're looking at, potentially close to around $15,000 for an FHA loan for $250,000. P&I, so principal and interest, this isn't including taxes and insurance, $1,252, right? With this amount of assistance, I believe this is going to be the 4%. You're getting almost $10,000 of that $15,000 paid for by the assistance. And the biggest thing to look at is the monthly payment. Yeah, monthly payment goes up, but it's only about $130 a month. In my personal opinion, whether I've got people that have the money for these programs, still qualify for them and still use them. I had a guy, the biggest one is conventional financing, right? You put 20% down and you don't have PMI or mortgage insurance. That's the biggest question I have. What is PMI? I had somebody that used this program, put down 15%, got the maximum amount of assistance through the Texas State Affordable Housing Corporation, and removed the PMI and hit that 20% threshold, even though they only put 15% down. Right? So you have to look at it from a couple different angles, aside from just, I don't have money or I want to use this money.
Right.
You can get very, very creative with it. But in my personal opinion, buying a house for $5,300 and my monthly payment only goes up $130 a month.
Exactly. Well worth it.
Right? So if you wait, if we look at this and we're seeing, let's say that we continue to see 20% appreciation.
And we will.
Right?
And we will.
So $250,000 plus 20%, you're going to add another $50,000 onto that in a year. So now this $250,000 house is now going to cost you $300,000 if appreciation keeps going up the way it is. Ideally,
well, let's say that differently to him, man. Okay, so it goes up. It can cost you another $30,000, right? By waiting. Another way of looking at this, guys, is if you buy now and you get a house at $250,000, you're going to end up having another $30,000 in equity. That's another way of looking at it. So, and I'm gonna look at it from the realtor perspective. From this, like this, I'll put it out there. I bought my house roughly in the low fours, right? Around the low fours. At the time when I purchased this particular home, guys, it was the most expensive home at this size and this model in my neighborhood, right? Like yourselves, I felt uncomfortable. I waived my appraisal. I did all those things. I was a nervous Nelly the whole way through. In fact, Palmer laughed at me, and so did my title rep laugh at me when I got to closing. I signed my paper wrong. I'm the one who tell you not to do this. I screwed it up. That's how nervous I was, right? Now, here's the deal. I look at it now. My exact same house, my exact same floor plan, just sold in my neighborhood, right? Okay, we just sold one in my neighborhood, right around the corner from me here. Exact same floor plan, and it sold for almost $500,000. So I know that I already have equity because my house has a little bit more upgrades than that one. So do I feel bad that I waived that appraisal? Do I feel bad that I put a whole lot of extra money down and things of that nature? It didn't feel good at that time, but I thank God every day for my home. We absolutely love it. My family's happy. We're all happy. The dog is, Stella's running around here. And then on top of it, we already have equity. We already have equity. So if you buy a house in the right area and in the right neighborhood, you don't have to be as fearful as some people are saying. You'll be fine. So can you afford another $130 a month? Or can you afford another $200 or $300, whatever it is, depending on the size of home that you're looking for? I guarantee you, is one thing I've noticed about a lot of my clients, when I give them these options and Palmer and I walk them through this, they realize they definitely have the money. Like for me, I take my kids to McDonald's, the whole family, we eat something like Chick-fil-A or McDonald's, something like that. I just spent $35 to $40. That's what we're talking about. That is what we're talking about. All right, looks like we lost Palmer here for just 1 second. We'll try to get him back here real quick. So that's what's going on in this market right now, guys. It is crazy. But the question of the day is down payment assistance on life support, right? What is going on out there? Okay, the market is changing, pricing is changing. We went through all that. I'm not going to cover all that again. But understand, because that is happening, the way these programs work is they have so much amount of money. They start at the 5% bucket, and there's 5% money, and then there's 4% money, and then there's 3%. Well, it happens this way every single year. First, you can get the 5% money, right? And when that's gone, all that's left is the 4% and 3%. When that's gone, just the 3%. When that's gone, no percent. Okay? But given what's going on in the market right now, that is changing. Okay? And sometimes the juice might not be worth the squeeze because of the interest rates going so high, right? Now, it's important that we tell you guys this real quick. It's very important that we go back and we tell you that when it comes to these programs, you have to at least be in these houses for typically about three years. If you was to sell that house, you do have to pay that money back. And that money comes down every year you stay in the house, but sometimes it comes onto you as a secondary lien that you have your mortgage and then a secondary lien like T-Shack or something like that. Okay? I think I got Palmer back here real quick. Hey, Palmer, you back?
Hey, yeah, the call came in and kicked out my audio.
I'm sorry about that. I was just walking these guys through here real quick. For the most part, I went over the fact that the market is changing what we actually have left. So when we ask these questions, is DPA on life support? Could be.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
Not to be all doom and gloomy, but that's just kind of the state that we're in. And it's not necessarily, again, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think we just have to think of alternative ways to use what is available, because it's not all gone. It's not all frozen. During COVID, it froze up. Nobody was, if you remember that, Sascha.
Oh, that was terrible.
Called me. And there was like three other lenders that you had talked to, and everybody was like, "We can't."
I panicked. I was literally shopping people, and I was like, one lender tells me, then another, and it's like my phone kept ringing off the hook. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah,
hey, Pete, what's going on, man?
It's not as bad as that, but you can see. I mean, these are live. Anybody that's certified with any of these particular programs has been getting these notifications on a daily basis, and due to continued market volatility, pricing for some DPA options has been unavailable. I wouldn't say it's on life support. It's in a holding pattern. You're not able to access as much as you could. They're reserving the lower amounts. They give you 3, 4, 5, and sometimes up to 6% when we're in a healthy market of whatever the loan amount is applied to your closing costs and your down payment. Now we're looking at 3 or 4%.
Right. So I haven't heard anyone getting 5% in like about a week or so.
Yeah. That was the first one that was cut.
Yeah. Yeah, we just talked about that.
If you have bonds continue to go up, the margins shrink, and then they're not making. At the end of the day, the mortgagee is paying interest on it, and so they can recoup the amount of assistance they're giving out. Again, margins shrink, less money circulating in the market.
So let's talk about it. What do people do now?
Well, they push forward. People persevere.
Absolutely.
People persevere. So there's a couple different avenues that they can look at. Gifts, right? This is a big one. You can get gifts from a family member. You can get gifts from an employer sometimes. If you're in a labor union, the labor union can give you gifts. Close friend. And I love the verbiage. This is actually from the agency guideline. A close friend with a clearly defined and documented interest in the borrower. So what does that mean? Fiance, girlfriend, boyfriend, right? And
Sugar daddy.
How we document it? Legit. We get.
I don't know if sugar daddy is going to be documented out there. People document sugar daddies, we got some problems.
If there's photo proof of it, if they've actually if they're out.
Don't say that. Don't say photo proof. That's the last thing that needs to be said.
That's charitable organization, is another one. Governmental agency or public entity that has a program providing down payment assistance, which is, that's on that. Retirement fund. I get asked this all the time. Can I, I don't have any money. I don't have, we run through all their assets. How much do you have in your checking, your savings? How many checking accounts do you have? How many savings accounts do you have? You may have $2,000 or $3,000, but then they've been working for their employer for the past 10 years, and it's a vested balance of like $50,000 or something like that. At the end of the day, nobody really wants to borrow against their 401k, but in an environment where we're looking at where prices of homes are going to continue to go up, interest rates are going to continue to go up. You got to get in now, and so that's a viable option. It's an extremely viable option.
That's what I did. I mean, I understand people say they might not want to do that. I completely get it, but here's the deal. The first home that Stephanie and I bought, we took money out of our 401k, right? I didn't even know there was an option, and I had plenty of money set up over there, and I just didn't want to touch cash, and we did that. And you know what? I paid myself back, right? So people borrow money all the time, credit cards, or just take out a loan from various means. Borrowing money from yourself is not a bad option, guys. It is a very good option if you got the money out there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, when they get started, they may need to check with you, and as well as check with their, the company issuing their 401k, and understand the rules of what they have to do there, because some companies take longer than others. This is not something, guys, that you need to try to do at the last minute, like 3 days before closing. No. You need to get with Palmer. You need to get with Palmer right now and start having a conversation about what is going to be your plan for financing your home, and then tell them these things. Because, and I'll tell you this is a pet peeve, and Palmer knows it's coming up for me. I have these conversations with people all the time. I need to buy a house. Great, let me get you over my lender. Oh, I don't want to do that yet. And it's April, and I say, well, when do you need to be in your house? And they say, well, I would like to be in a house by June. Which means I need you shopping right now, right? In this market, we need some time to get you into a home, right? And you need to go ahead and start having that conversation with a lender. Step one, get you a great real estate agent. I'm here. My team is here. We'd be more than happy to help you out. If we're not in your market, I have agents all across the nation that I coach, I help, I train, that I can refer you out to, number one. Number two, get you a great lender. It is always awesome when your lender and your realtor work collectively together. And just ask that question. How many deals do you guys do together? Right? So definitely. Now here's the deal. I can work with anybody. I feel like I can work with anybody. I know Palmer can work with anybody, but you put Palmer and I together, you got something special. Right? And right now in this market, you need something special. You need a special team. You need a special lender. You need a special home inspector. You need special everybody to get you under contract right now. So definitely get started with a real estate agent, and definitely get started with a great lender. Now, we're going to go ahead and put our information out in the chat out there for you guys. If you need to do a buyer consultation to figure out, are you ready? I'll be more than happy to sit down and talk with you, or a member of my team will. I have 4 agents on my team who are out there making it happen for everybody out there. We had a great weekend, the Chatman Realty Group. We put several people under contract, helping them out, right? And those deals are going on as we speak. Our buyers get educated. They learn a whole lot out there in terms of how to buy a home. In fact, we have a free online home buyer course. We'll put that link out there for you as well. Walks you through videos, not quite as long as this one here, right? But walks you through videos of the home buying process. So I don't care if your lease isn't up until November, start now. If your lease is up in June, start now. And if you need to go right now, click on that link and go ahead and schedule your buyer consultation with me and get on Palmer's link and schedule out with him as well. You need to make sure you get this whole thing going, because waiting right now just means home values going up. And if DPA is on life support right now, what is it going to be in 3 to 6 months? These are the questions that you have to ask yourself. So if you check out the chat right now on Chatman Realty Group, you will see Palmer's Calendly link out there, and you will see mine as well. Okay, so we'll make sure we get that out to you. We'll put that in the YouTube channel as well. So real quick, Palmer, I got a couple questions that had came in here. Let's see. All right. I can't put that one on the screen. Do we expect interest rates to continue to rise this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll start to see, and again, that was at the very beginning of this when I said that we're projected to see normalcy after about 12 to 18 months. And a part of that is we'll start to see interest rates continue to rise. I mean, some people are forecasting like close to 7% by December.
Yeah, I'm hearing that a lot. I keep hearing that number 7%, and let's be honest about this, guys. People say I won't buy a house at 7%. When your rent goes from $2,000 up to $2,500, you'll be calling Chatman Realty Group, and we'll be waiting for you, and we'll sell you that house at 7%. But we would much rather help you right now and help you get that house while we're talking about 4.5% to 5%, right? Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, because listen, I'm very passionate about this, because I absolutely can't tell you guys how many people I was helping last year who said, "Well, I'm going to wait. My father told me to wait. My mother told me to wait. I'm waiting for the market to crash." Nothing against your mama and your daddies. Be careful who you're taking advice from, right? You have to understand that the market is not their market that they bought a house in. It's not the market that your friend bought a house in last year. And your friend says, "Oh, I got this, I got that, I got all these great things." Child, please, this ain't the same thing. This is very, very different out there. I'm going to tell you that right now. So what we're trying to get you guys to see and tell everyone is straight up. Do you want to buy a house right now for $300,000, right, at roughly 4.5% to 5%, and see that asset that you purchased grow to $330,000 in value inside of 6 months to a year, and already have that equity? Or would you rather go ahead and wait and say, "I'm gonna buy a house later"? Think about it, and then interest rates are going to be sitting up at 6 to 7%, and now that house that you wanted at $300,000 is at $330,000.
Well, another good way to look at it as well, just completely removing the interest rate aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you invest into anything, and you're seeing in between 18 to 22% year over year return, right? That's a good investment. I don't think you can invest anywhere in the stock market and get that kind of return, right? So if you buy now and you start to see your house appreciate, because again, 12 to 18 months, you're still going to continue to see high percentage of equity build up in that house, and then it starts to slow down, and now that 18 to 22% kind of starts to normalize back to 8 or 9%, right? And then you're buying a house. You're still going to build equity, right, at 8 or 9%. But you could have accelerated that, because you and I both know that the market's not going to go down.
No, it's not.
It's going to slow down potentially, but it's never going to reverse. A house that's being bought for $300,000 today in 2 years is not going to be worth $250,000.
And that's what people say. Well, the market crashed before in 2008. It can do it again.
Well,
this is not 2008.
Yeah,
this is a very different scenario.
Yeah. That was. You see that movie, The Big Short?
Yeah.
With Steve Carell, and he's in the strip club scene, and he's talking to the chick, and she's like, "Yeah, I just bought my 5th house," and he looks at her and he's like, "What?"
I didn't know that's where you were going. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's completely dumbfounded. This chick, not disparaging that line of work, but it's out of the ordinary for someone in that vertical to purchase 5 houses. And I think it was in Florida too, so they were all beach houses.
You're really going left on this one.
I know. But you see what I'm trying to say.
I get what you're saying. Exactly.
Yeah.
And guys, this is how me and Palmer are. We're just going to lay it out there with you, and it's going to put it plain as plain can be. All right? It's changing. It's a different market. We're going to keep bringing you guys these type of shows and just talking about what's going on in the market. And hopefully we get some people out there who are listening to us and ready to go ahead and get this thing done, and who are ready to start thinking about how they build wealth. Let me be very clear. This right now is the biggest way to build wealth in our country. Real estate's always been the biggest thing. But what's happening right now, this is not going to continue. We're not going to see this forever in a day of home values going up 20% year over year. That's going to slow down eventually. But the ones who are going to win, let me give you a different example. The ones who are going to buy a home and grow so much equity that they jumpstart their kids' college fund, or who bought a house last year, and people who are buying a house right now. Now think about the people who bought back in, good Lord, 2019 or 2018 and stayed in their home. The ones who stayed in their home from that perspective and who are sitting there on $100,000 of equity. But real quick example, I have a client, I just sold their house not too long ago. They bought their house about 18 months to the day I sold it. Okay, they bought that house for $195,000. Okay, great. $195,000. They weren't even in the house for 18 months. I was nervous about what was going to happen. I sold that house for $265,000. Who here wants to walk away with $65,000 of profit in their pockets after 18 months? Now, because when we did that, we reset the market over there at Chatman Realty Group in that particular neighborhood. The highest priced home that ever sold over there in that neighborhood of that size was $250,000, and we sold it, like I said, $265,000. Now that was back in March, early March. Now I just saw a couple more houses sell at $275,000 and then $280,000. Why? Because now we were out there with a house that was much higher than anybody else's, and people started competing and going more. That's what's happening, and you can be a part of that in terms of growing the equity and being able to make it happen for you. The sellers out there, they're loving it. Put yourself in a position to go ahead and buy a home and get on and cash in on that equity right now, guys. I'm telling you. We got to bring this to a close, man. Palmer's information is down there in the chat. My information is down there in the chat. We appreciate everyone who jumped on, off and on. Sorry about the audio issues. We will get better at this. Promise you we'll get better at this. And we're going to bring you guys next week's episode, and we'll get that out there for you as well.
Cool. Thanks, man. I appreciate you for bringing me on.
Oh, no doubt, man. Always. We got some more work to do. We'll be talking to each other tomorrow about who we got to get where. But that's what we do. All right, guys. Appreciate everybody.
All right.
Peace.
Bye.